Welcome to the Coach's Corner. Today, we're going to take a look at stage one, why early money creates false confidence and the hidden pressure that comes with it. This is stage one, the 0 to 30,000 validation stage. And the first checkpoint, the first video that I want to walk you through. Let's start here. The payment cleared, and for about 48 hours, it felt like you figured it out. You started thinking bigger, you told a few people, you started planning what's next. Then something quieter showed up: doubt and questions. Questions you need to be able to answer. Questions like, can I do that again? Was that client the exception or the rule? What happens when that well runs dry? That shift from the rush to the quiet and questions is what this video is about. Because the moments are signals. Most people only listen to the first. Here's what we're going to be covering: the rush and why it's dangerous, two ways the first client goes, the one wrong move, the hidden pressure. When confidence tips into paralysis, slow down to speed up. Build three things from every client: the four follow up questions, and then we'll go through the summary and next steps. Let's start here. The rush is real, and so is the risk. The core principle I want you to take away from this is to slow down to speed up. Early money feels like proof. It is actually a test. The best entrepreneurs use early momentum to gather data. They don't rush forward based on emotion. The excitement is real, but it's not confirmation. It's a single data point, not a pattern. The first client brings a feeling that's hard to overstate. You feel like you figured it out. You want to put everything you have into it. When I say slow down to speed up, early money feels like proof, but it is really a test. The entrepreneurs who get the most out of stage one use that initial momentum to read situations, gather data, not sprint towards a destination they haven't earned yet. Here's what rushing looks like and feels like: confirmation that the idea works, permission to move faster, proof you made the right call, urgency to capitalize on momentum. Now let's take a look at what it actually is. It's a single data point, not a pattern, a signal worth reading carefully, an early test of fit, process, and pricing, and the beginning of proof, but not the proof. Two ways the first client goes: there's the right client that serves as a confirmation signal. Expectations are clear, feedback is useful. You understand why they said yes. The process feels repeatable, and they refer or would refer you. The wrong client, the warning signal, their scope creep, and it appears early. Expectations are unclear, fear of refunds or bad reviews, revenue funds the delivery, and red flags were ignored. Both outcomes are data. The value comes from reading the signal, not just surviving it. So whether the first client feels like a win or not, it's telling you something critical either way. The wrong client isn't a failure. It's one of the most valuable early experiences you can have. And if you extract this signal instead of just surviving the situation, then you're arming yourself for success. The one wrong move false confidence causes. False confidence leads to predictable mistakes. It often starts before working with strangers. Early clients come from friends, family, close network. That support is real, but it's not validation. Eventually, that network runs out. And when that happens, then you need to deal with strangers. That creates a gap, that creates pressure. Under pressure, people jump to paid leads, run ads too early, and they try to compete on price. And this can lead to the wrong kind of clients, scope issues, poor outcomes, and all of these things are avoidable with the right foundation. Let's take a closer look. False confidence causes entrepreneurs to look too far down the road. And that's the classic version is getting friends and family to buy in early and making the mistake of thinking that's market validation. Three things I want you to consider. Supporters buy in. It feels like proof. Friends, family, and close connections show up because they believe in you. That's real, but it's not market validation. Two, the well runs dry. And that's when the real test begins. When the personal network is exhausted, you need strangers. That gap between supporter revenue and the stranger revenue is where most people stall. Three, the shortcut trap. Paid leads, wrong environments. Under pressure, entrepreneurs move to paid ads and environments where they're competing against established businesses. That's where competing on price begins. They may end up on lead generation sites, paying for leads, and then trying to compete with people that are more established, have more features, and are further down the road. And that's where you can overpromise and then find yourself scrambling trying to deliver. The hidden pressure. Pressure is almost always present in stage one. There are different types of pressure: financial urgency, lack of runway, social expectations, fear of failure. Here's what pressure causes: chasing any client instead of the right client, prioritizing urgency over strategy, skipping foundational work, competing on price. Here's the key insight: the work skipped under pressure is the work that prevents future problems. It's different for everyone, but it's rarely absent. And it has a consistent effect on the decisions people make. So let's take a closer look at where the pressure comes from. People start a business for different reasons. Some are starting out of necessity, and that creates day one pressure. Maybe they got laid off and they need to replace that income. They're watching bills pile up. Family and friends watching to see if it works. Personal networks running dry too soon. Comparing yourself and your progress to others further ahead. First, revenue, funding the delivery itself. Sometimes you don't have a savings to be able to dip into. If you're starting out in necessity, you may need that first payment to help you deliver on the thing that you're actually selling. That creates a great amount of pressure because then you have to worry about refunds. You have to worry about things going sideways. And when that happens, there's a shift. Let's take a look at what it shifts. Focus moves from the right audience to any audience. Urgency replaces strategy in every decision. I need to be able to bring more people in. I need to be able to generate this money. I really need these clients because if I don't have these clients, I can't pay these bills. Foundational work skipped over to move faster. That's one of those things where you may say, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I just need to bring the clients in. I need to win this business. And then I'll think about how I'm going to be able to deliver on this afterwards. Price becomes the primary lever to close. If you find yourself haggling on price, it means you may not be talking to the right person or you haven't positioned yourself in a way where they see your value. And now you're having a situation where you have to haggle over the actual price, and haggling over the price is haggling over your value. And if you started with one price and you end up on a lower one, it makes them question how much you actually believe in what it is that you're able to deliver. Scope creep accepted to keep clients happy. Scope creep is deciding on what's going to be done, how much you're going to charge for it. And then once you're in the process, they start adding things to the process. Well, while you're at it, can you do this? Now that we're covering this, it occurred to me we need to do this as well. Let's just go ahead and add that in. That's not something that allows you to be able to manage your time. And it starts to decrease the value that you're able to bring because you're adding more things in. And if you plan things out, every time you add something new in, it extends the project. And if you're someone that's waiting on that final payment at the end of a project, scope creep is one of the worst things that can happen to you. The foundational elements skipped under pressure are exactly the things that would have helped spot red flags before they became problems. Pressure costs more than it saves. When false confidence tips into paralysis. Sometimes confidence collapses. It shows up in three ways: overpromising, overloaded capacity, freezing in conversations. The root cause: moving faster than the foundation can support. The solution: not more confidence, but better preparation. Let's dig into this a little bit further. Overpromising, then freezing on delivery. False confidence leads to commitments that can't be kept. The entrepreneur stretches scope or timeline to close, then freezes trying to make good on what they said. Early momentum feels like a runway. It isn't. Taking on volume before the process is locked in creates a burnout cycle that's hard to recover from at stage one. If you take on more clients than you know that your process can handle, it puts the pressure on for you to be able to deliver, and it pulls away from you having any kind of downtime to reset, recharge, refocus, and align yourself with the client experience that the customer expects. When you take on more clients than your process can handle, you risk the customer experience. And at the end of the day, that's not only what keeps them, it's what helps you get the testimonial and the referrals that small business owners need in order to be able to strive and survive. Freezing in prospect conversations. When a tough question comes up that exposes a gap in preparation, the confidence that carried them into the room disappears. The entrepreneur freezes exactly when they need to be the most present. This is why looking at the frequently asked questions and documenting any objections is going to be able to help you prepare for future conversations. If you realize that there's something that gives someone pause or makes them hesitate, document it. Ask them why. Gather as much information as you can because that information is what's going to prepare you for the next conversation. And if that next person brings that up, now you're prepared for it. There's less reason to be paralyzed because you can take that time in between to come up with an answer and test it out. Paralysis at stage one is almost always the result of moving faster than the foundation can support. The answer isn't more confidence, it's more preparation. Let's talk about slowing down to speed up. Focus on evaluating each early client. From every client, build three assets: the FAQ list, the process list, and the objection list. One client becomes usable data for future clients. When that first client excitement hits, pause. Extract the signal from the wind before making any moves based on that feeling. When I say three things to be able to build as far as assets go, start with your frequently asked questions list. What do people ask consistently? Recurring questions reveal what isn't clear in your positioning and what the audience needs to hear before they buy. The next, your process list. What do people consistently request? Those requests tell you what belongs in your delivery process or what needs to be addressed as to why it isn't there. And then that brings us to your objection list. What made people hesitate? Documenting pushback prepares you for the follow up responses in real time, and it keeps you from getting caught off guard. So, like I said, when you have these conversations with people, if they run into an objection, if they bring something up that you didn't prepare for, write it down, document it, then give it some thought. Post call, not necessarily on the call. Post call. Think about the best response that you can come back with, and then follow up with that response. If you find yourself getting asked questions that you don't have the answer to, acknowledge it. You know what? That's a great question and something that someone hasn't asked before. That objection, first time I'm hearing that. Let me give it some thought and get back to you because I want you to know that I'm taking it seriously. Don't paralyze yourself in that situation. Buy yourself time. This is what slow down to speed up looks like in practice. One client used well becomes the data that protects every future client relationship. The four follow up questions to ask every time. You want to start with priority, then move on to source, prior attempts, and then hesitation. The answers shape your messaging, your positioning, and your sales process. These questions turn a complicated delivery into a data collection event. Ask them after every client. These questions turn a completed delivery into a data collection event. Ask them after every early client, without exception. Question one: what made this a priority for you right now? Question two: where did you find me? What were you doing before you looked for a solution? Question three: what have you tried before this? What didn't work? Question four: what made you hesitant to move forward? And was there anything specific that gave you pause in our process? These four questions build your positioning language, sharpen your sales process, and give you content that speaks to the real buyer's journey, not the assumed one. Summary: four key takeaways. The rush is a signal, not permission. Supported revenue is not validation. Pressure creates predictable mistakes. And build three lists and ask four questions. Sticking to these a little bit further. One, the rush is a signal, not permission to sprint. Use early momentum to gather data, not to accelerate towards a destination you haven't earned yet. Two, supported revenue is not market validation. That's friends and family buying in, and showing support. The real test starts when strangers say yes. 3. The pressure causes predictable mistakes. Name them. Taking one wrong client, competing on price, skipping foundations. Recognizing the pattern is the first defense against it. Once you can identify it, document it, name it, do what you can to prevent it, and it opens you up to be able to be more prepared for the next conversation, and you'll have another objection that you can be able to shoot down. 4, build 3 lists and ask 4 questions every time. The 3 list, FAQs, that's frequently asked questions. The process, you want to define it, document it, and validate it. And your objection list. Document any objections that you receive to prepare you for the next calls, the next clients, and the next conversations. Then there's the 4 questions that cover priority, source, prior attempts, and hesitation. When you can cover these things, one client used well protects every client that follows. If this felt familiar, comment debrief. If you want to be able to learn more, if you feel a little uncertain, I invite you to take the entrepreneurial type assessment. The link will be in the description, and it helps you decide what path best aligns with your idea, your surrounding circumstances, and make sure that you're on a path that's setting you up for success, not complications. Up next, video 2. Now that you know what early money is telling you, the next question is whether what you're building is repeatable. Video 2 is about proving it, building it, and knowing when you've actually passed that test. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.